What's up, man? It's your boy Ontario Sims coming at y'all with the first video on the Soil Culture YouTube channel, man. I just want to thank everybody for reaching out. I want to thank everybody for locking in with the videos, man. Soil Culture is a company I created to help spread knowledge, help spread wealth to the community, you know what I'm saying? So we doing what we do and using what we know to be able to help and inspire others, man. So today I want to take y'all and talk to y'all a little bit about how I was able to buy a house at 19 years old, man. So come along with me, stay tuned. First things first, I want y'all to know that me buying a house at 19 years old literally all started up here in my mind, bro. This all started as an idea, you know what I'm saying? And I just want everybody to know, because I'm a firm believer in this. If you want to do anything, I mean absolutely anything, you have to first believe in yourself. You first have to know that I actually can do that. You feel me? If you watching this video and you got a pessimistic vision about yourself and you don't think you can do the things that you actually can do, you might as well go ahead and leave this video now. To the nitty gritty, man. So like I said, I was able to buy a house at 19. To this day, it's been my greatest accomplishment besides having a genius of a son, because my son is an absolute genius. But yeah, I bought it. My name's Ontario Sims, man. I was able to buy a house at 19 years old. And it's literally been one of the greatest decisions that I've ever made, you know what I'm saying? It's been able to open me up to a whole bunch of learning, man. It's been able to open me up to a whole bunch of opportunity in the future, you know? So the process for me was kind of simple, you know? It was kind of easy, you know? So the process started with, pretty much just having a vision. I was 18 years old, about to graduate high school, you know what I'm saying? And I knew I didn't want to be living at my mom's forever, but I also knew I didn't want to be going and paying a whole bunch of rent to a landlord, So in my mind, I came up with the idea that, when it was time for me to move out the house, I was finna buy me a house. So I locked in with that. I researched everything that I would need to do to buy a house, I researched what neighborhoods was looking good in my area, you know what I'm saying? I researched what the markets was looking like, what the prices was looking like, and then I began the process by just reaching out to a local realtor that I knew, you know what I'm saying, and let her know, like, hey, I've been saving my money, I've been working hard, you know what I'm saying, and I think it's time for me to go ahead and buy this house. That way, I'm doing something for my son in the future. I didn't know I was having a kid at the time, but it all worked out perfectly, because I ended up having a kid literally a month after I closed on the crib. So yeah, but back to the story, man. Hold on. So a little bit of backstory on what was able to help me buy the house mostly was me working. Okay, so I had always been a worker. I have a background in landscaping. Ever since about 12, 13 years old, my uncle had me out mowing grass, making my own money, getting my own hustle on. So when it came to buying a house at so young, since I was so young and just graduated high school, I didn't have to have any tax returns. I didn't have to have some of the certain documents that you would need, because I was literally just a minor 2 years prior, you know what I'm saying? So with the stuff that I did have, I had documentation from me working with my uncle, you know what I'm saying? I had documentation of, me working at the U of I, because I had a U of I job, like a part-time job before I bought my crib. And then at the time, when I did buy the house, I was going into being a construction laborer. So I had all that literally, on my background. I had little check stubs from my construction laborer job. So everything literally just lined out perfect for me to be able to execute it, you know what I mean? Came to the process of looking for a house, my realtor, after I reached out to her, she put me in contact with a lender. And when you get in contact with a lender will basically crunch your numbers, run all your numbers, and then see what you can afford, you know what I mean? So I got in deep with my lender, cool, very cool guy, he was basically looking at my age, you know what I'm saying, my credit score, my debt to income ratio, how much money I was making from my laboring job, you know what I'm saying, all these different factors, and they basically approved me and say, hey, you can get a house for like $94,000 or $98,000 or something like that. So boom, I got my offer of what I can look for. Boom, I instantly go looking for a crib, like instantly. Once I knew how much I could do, I'm boom, looking. And honestly, man, at the time, it was a lot of bogus cribs on the market. Like, one of the houses I went and looked at, man, looked like dogs had went through there and tore the whole house up. It smelled like stinky old dog. I think I looked at another house that I just wasn't feeling, you know what I'm saying? But then I ran across the house that I got, bro. And it was literally perfect for me. Got the big old garage from my landscaping company, you know what I'm saying? Nice yard right in the neighborhood I grew up in, right down the street from my grandma's house, man. I could have looked at more houses, you know, but once I seen this, I just pulled the trigger on it and went ahead and got it, man. After I pulled the trigger and was like, hey, you know, this is the one that I wanted, it happened to be more than what I had got approved for by the lender, you know, so I reached back out to my lender. I was like, hey, man, you know, I'm really liking this house. It's about like 10,000 more than what I was approved for. You know, I was seeing if we can make something work. And, man, the lender made it work, no problem, man. They said, you like the house, man, put the offer in, you know, and you got it, buddy. So put an offer in, you know, I gave them exactly what they wanted, man. I didn't try and nickel and dime just because the market was hot at this time. You know, I knew the house wouldn't last. Gave them what they wanted, man. Ended up being $108,000 for the house, man. And, you know, I've been here ever since, 5 years now. All the process, the closing process was fairly simple, you know. I think what I had to do first was I had to give them $1,000 earnest money just to sell, like, hey, I'm serious about this house, you know, I really want it. I gave them my $1,000 earnest money, man. They scheduled the closing. I was able to meet the dude who was selling the house. Real cool dude. My brother and his son, you know, hung out and used to play over here all the time. You know what I'm saying? Real cool family, real cool dude. You know, I went into the closing very nervous, you know, because I'm 19. I've never done nothing like that, you know what I'm saying? But it was pretty chill, man. Since I got a first-time home buyer's loan, I ended up only having to put down 3.5% of the purchase price, which ended up only being like $2,500 or like $2,800. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, man, it's not very hard to buy a house. You know what I'm saying? You could literally buy a house easy. The main thing is just keeping the house. You know, so I was able to get the house. You know, being all in for about $3,000. You know, to do everything, and it's been a wonderful process, man. Like I said, I've been here 5 years. We still here, baby. We still trucking on, you know what I'm saying? But this house did lead me down a bad financial path, you know what I'm saying, in the last previous years, but we'll make a separate video about that, talking about that. But like I said, man, it's easy to buy a house. Keeping a house is the hard part, you know what I'm saying? So this is my story on how I was able to buy a house at 19. You know, I want to inspire other people to go out and buy houses, you know what I'm saying, and prioritize ownership and prioritize their future, man, you know. So like, follow, and subscribe. We coming out with way more videos, talking about way more topics, you know, spreading way more game, man. Like I said, like, follow, and subscribe, man. Enjoy the rest of your day, man.